Welcome to AT in the IEP. Before we get going, I'd like to mention that we are using closed captioning to provide text at the bottom of the screen for what is spoken during the presentation. At times, there may be unintended word substitutions. For example, when I say the letters AT, the text below often reads as the number 80. So just recognize there may be some unintended word substitutions in the text. Okay, let's get going. AT in the IEP. What is AT? AT is an abbreviation for assistive technology. Assistive technology is any piece of equipment or system that helps to level the playing field for a person with a disability. Let's take a look at what that might mean.
We all like to do things, like color, and read, and use a computer. It's how we play, learn, work, and get things done. But when a disability makes it hard to do something we'd like to do, we need a little help. Luckily, there's a solution. Welcome to Simply Said, Understanding Assistive Technology. Assistive technology, or AT, is anything that helps you do something you couldn't do otherwise, like walk, run, communicate, and more. These helpful tools can be as simple as a foam grip that makes it possible for a child to grasp a crayon and create art, as common as glasses that make it possible for a student to read and learn, or as sophisticated as software that makes it possible for an employee to convert their spoken word to text on a computer screen and succeed. Whether you're young or old, male or female, whether you've had a disability from birth or developed one over the years, AT can help.
Okay, so when do you consider AT in the school setting? Basically, any time that a student is unable to participate with the standard school supports. Common AT could include adaptive seating, and that could be something as simple as a standard chair with arm supports, digital reading access like electronic books, hearing supports, picture cues, whether used as a visual schedule or for communication, switches to allow students to engage in their environment, writing alternatives from adaptive paper to use of a keyboard, vision supports, and voice output devices. Anyone can provide AT, a teacher, an assistant, a therapist. A lot of AT is really about accommodation. It's about setting up a student for success. An AT consult can be requested from the CMS AT team at any time by completing this Google form. Once complete, an AT member will be replying. The CMS AT team is a support to CMS staff, parents, and students. AT members are not used as a separate related service. When documenting AT in the IEP, it can go in a lot of different places. It should always be listed in the special factors area. This is the section of the IEP that specifically asks the question, does the student require AT? AT is also often mentioned in the accommodation section. To take a deeper dive in how to document AT in the IEP, reference this document. It goes into more detail about what AT is and provides tips on how to include it in different areas of the IEP. My favorite part of this document is at the very bottom. It provides specific examples of how to write the narrative section for different areas of support. These last 5 bullets give specific narrative examples. So the first one is for communication. The student will have access to voice output devices, picture cues, and communication overlays for educational activities. The second one targets writing. Student will have access to a word processing device as an alternative to paper and pencil writing tasks. The third one targets positioning. The student will be provided seating modifications that optimize access to the educational curriculum. The fourth The EC department will provide magnification devices, including a handheld magnifier and a video magnifier, providing both near and far distance magnification. And the last, for students with hearing loss, an assistive listening device, ALD system, can be provided to be worn by staff working with the student. Student may also use the ALD system for any online activities if needed. You'll notice during all of those examples, a brand name was not mentioned. Instead, the features of what the student needs was described. This is for two reasons. Basically, because technology is forever changing, and so are student needs. This allows flexibility in making sure that the student is provided the most beneficial supports. Here are some ways to reference the features instead of the brand name. The first one mentions read and write. Instead of using read and write specifically, mention the feature, whether it's word prediction with auditory feedback or speech to text that the student needs. The second, instead of using iPad with a specific application like touch chat, reference a portable touchscreen device with voice output. The third example, instead of writing a Big Mac voice output device or symbol sticks pictures, reference a single message voice output device and picture symbols. And the last one, instead of referencing a Chromebook, mention that the student needs a word processing device. Here's an example of answering that question, does the student require AT? This is a nice example that really paints a picture of what the student needs. Student requires the use of objects, picture symbols, static communication overlays, switches, and voice output devices to communicate and participate in the educational setting. Student uses a manual wheelchair, a stander, a gait trainer, a height adjustable wheelchair desk, and a padded restroom table with rail for positioning during school activities. This gives the person working with the student or receiving the IEP a really nice picture of how to best support the student without naming a specific stander or a specific gait trainer or a specific switch, so that those items can change as the student changes and needs change. Another part of the special factors section asks the question, what information is known about the student that will assist in developing an individualized education program? This is a great place to mention if a student is bringing a device from home. In this example, it's referenced as the student has a personal augmentative communication device. Family sends the device for use during educational and social interactions throughout the day. Under the accommodations section, painting a picture of what the student needs across activities is ideal. This is an example of a student who needs positioning and communication supports. The student will use her seating mobility system for mobility and communication devices. In parentheses, communication device, notebook, voice output devices, switches, provided by teacher, teacher assistant, when in the educational setting. Again, that sets a nice picture to know that the student needs to be supported in a seating system and have alternative communication opportunities to include a notebook, voice output devices, and switches without specifically saying the student needs a step-by-step or a specific seating system. Another example of an accommodation, this one states that the staff will provide the student with a variety of assistive technology, parentheses, word processing device, access to speech to text, and a slant board, in parentheses, to enable her to participate in marking and writing activities during class assignments, EOG tests, common exams, or other district or state tests of the general education setting. So this lets whoever's working with the student know that she needs a word processing device used for speech to text and a slant board pretty quickly. If you would like to learn more about AT, visit our site. It's also a bit.ly, so it's case sensitive, and it's ever evolving to provide both student supports and resources along with staff information. If you need help with IEP documentation, please contact your compliance facilitator or ICT support at your school. You can always also contact the EC help desk. If you click either of these links, it will take you to your EC department list for your school. And here you can see all the EC staff supports available. Thank you for taking the time to listen to AT and the IEP.